All right, so we're getting closer here, right? About 50 cents away. What we want to be careful of here is just make sure that we're not seeing too much index discooperation or uncooperation or whatever the correct term might be. We're seeing quite a lot of leading names here potentially break down just a little bit. And we're getting a little bit of a divergence between those signals. So that's just going to slow me down here just a little bit. So as we creep up towards this, just want to be watching that what the SPY is doing. Make sure that it isn't absolutely flushing through its sort of floor here. And then I'll have a little bit of conviction. But I've got everything set up here, ready to go. So it's just a question of if it's we get deep enough here and if we get index cooperation. And I'm looking right around that 155.70 area. Right? And I can go full size here because if I lose 70 cents a share at full size, I'm only losing about 70% of what my 1% is, right? I'm losing 7/10 of 1% instead of a full one. So I'm happy to have that position sizing. Now, if you do that calculation and you're unhappy with your anticipated loss or your expected loss if you get it, then size down and don't allow yourself to take that big of a hit, right? But your stop loss and your position sizing should always be working in unison. They're like a tag team, right? And so if they're inconsistent, you're going really big stop loss, really small, or really big stop loss, really big position sizing, then they're not really working together. But if you're still targeting that 2-to-1 risk reward and you got a big stop loss, but you still get paid on those moves, but you got to make sure that your position sizing is setting yourself up to survive those P&L swings and that you stay within that max loss number, right? We all got to remember that everyone as a trader, regardless if you manage $100 or $1 billion, right? Everyone has a number that breaks them or kind of puts them into that situation where they have that out of body experience where they start making decisions that they know they shouldn't make. And so it's our number one responsibility as traders to make sure that we never get to that position. And so that's a really proactive, not reactive thing. There's nothing that you can do once you're in that mind frame to really snap yourself out of it, or there's no like immediate trick that can do that besides just having the self-awareness. So it's about having that almost like foresight to know that I'm gonna do dumb things as a trader, but how can I make sure that when I do dumb things that they don't compound into doing other stupid things? So I'm constantly obsessing over that, right? And so that's why my position sizing has to be such a rigid part of my decision-making process, because if I ignore those variables, then I very often detach myself from kind of the rational human being that I want to be when I'm trading. So it's very important that I think about those consistent details and control those variables as much as possible. Now we got to be a little bit careful here, right? We're seeing aggressive lows now on the old spider. So I'm going to cancel my order, just short term. Watch how this reacts. But that could be the catalyst that we need to push this lower. 100%. So now I just want to make sure that it's not a rug pull event here. And we still haven't pulled into our initial entry target, right? So we haven't missed out on anything here yet. Oh, come on, load, you fucker. The fuck, Tesla? Now is not the time for TradingView to be slow. All right, still watching here, right? Still watching. Got my order set up, still at that 155.70, but it's not hanging out there yet. I want to see that if that dip gets gobbled up here on the index. Got about 10 cents to go. Okay, looks like it is so far. So I'm back in play here. Maybe if I can get a little overreaction flush under 155.70, that would be the move. And that would be like the lowest or the highest price I'm willing to accept. So basically, if I see like a 155.55 print, that becomes my trigger press time. You know what I mean? But I'm still just a little bit nervous by making lower lows again. All right, so they're just slowing me down just enough here where I don't want to be chasing an outlier, right? That feels a little bit nervy. We still haven't had an entry, but got to be careful here. Okay, back in business. No hanging order yet, right? No hanging order here yet. I do have everything set up. So that right there should have been my walk away point. We got to that increasing bearish volume. So if I'm looking for a weak pullback into my zone, it's hard to say it's a weak pullback if it's increasing bearish volume. But I want to see that overreaction. Okay, still waiting, still waiting. Okay. See if we can get an entry. Just waiting a little bit. Okay. I am in, guys. Average price 155.51. So yeah, shouldn't have entered this trade. The increasing volume should have been my reason to walk away on this, especially with indexes selling off. Just set myself up to get stop loss. Good thing I had my position sizing pretty good here. Took my stop loss like a respectful or responsible trader. But ultimately, this was a trade I should have avoided and not placed here this morning. Could have gotten a better entry for sure. So yeah, I probably should have waited an extra 20 cents. Maybe a little bit too aggressive on this. So yeah, just at this point, right, I'm kind of trying to talk myself into justifying this mistake a little bit. Not sure if I've realized it quite yet, that I shouldn't have entered in on this, but I mean, it definitely doesn't feel good to be 50 cents or 30 cents offside almost immediately on your entry. So definitely getting some of that regret hitting me here at this moment. But like, I understand why I made a mistake here. No issues there. I know what I need to focus on and avoid for next time. So it's a good learning opportunity, and it is what it is. Well, this volume outlier is well, right, above a most recent, right? So this opening 5-min volume is 100% that outlier, guys, right? It's like double what we saw yesterday. So I would say that I have the outlier volume standard I needed. I maybe don't like this increasing volume here. That's probably the issue that I'm most regretting, I would say. $0.05 here. All right, I'm out. I feel dumb about that, actually. So I lost about 50 cents a share there, about 54 cents a share, actually, all things considered, on a full position size. So it took about a half size max loss there. Not the end of the world, but ultimately a trade I should have avoided, and one I'm kind of disappointed about because I feel like I kind of broke my rules here to a certain extent. So something to learn from for sure. I think maybe got a little bit too excited with the gains I had so far this week. Maybe spent a bit too much time talking myself into this trade instead of out of this trade. But that increasing volume on my entry should have been my clue to walk away, or to at least be more patient. And I didn't look at that price action as cleanly as I needed to here this morning. So, okay, is what it is. Moving on, learn from it, and yeah, good week, but we'll continue pushing.